Hello, welcome to Homebrew Labs. I am the Mad Homebrewist. I've been wanting to try making D&D YouTube videos for quite a while, but I didn't have a good setup with a camera, microphone, etc. And I'm brand new to video editing, so I kept putting it off. When I saw Jenny D and Pointy Hat's videos about Kraken Week coming up, I decided to go for it. I still don't have a good setup, but who cares? This image I'm showing is one I made for a backup character if my current character dies. I made it on Here at Forge. It's a great site, not a sponsor, but for people like me who are terrible artists, it makes it a lot easier to bring the visual aspects of a character to life. Anyway, I've been playing and DMing for years now, and I love making homebrews that I test out with my players, sometimes on NPCs and sometimes my players use them for their own characters. I want to share my ideas with you all here. I'm going to try to make it short and sweet this time, and if I enjoy it, I might do more videos in the future. For Kraken Week, I've made 3 aquatic-themed subclasses, one each for Ranger, Bard, and Monk. I'll have homebrewery PDFs of them linked in the description, and hopefully you'll be able to see those on the right side of the screen while I talk about them. Like I said, I'm new to video editing, so hopefully I don't mess it up. First off is the Mariner Ranger. These are meant to be rangers who have spent a good deal of time on or near the seas. If you use the favorite terrain feature of the 2014 Ranger, it would make sense to go with the coast option, but I always felt like favorite terrain was incredibly niche and was barely more than a ribbon feature. My idea is that time spent on or near the sea has given you access to a set of skills and also affected the magical abilities you've learned as a ranger. Other than getting a swimming speed at level 7, which in most campaigns is something that never comes up, all the features I've given are things with an aquatic or pirate theme, but which would be equally useful on land. I tried to use this principle with each of the other subclasses as well. One thing to note before I jump into the Ranger subclass is that I allow my players to use Hunter's Mark without concentration, similar to how it was in 1D&D UA number 2. I gave them the choice of whether to use concentration each time they cast it. If they choose no concentration, then its duration is 1 minute. I'm planning to continue this after the 2024 PHB comes out. From what I've seen, this doesn't make it OP, it just makes it still usable when they've got access to other more useful concentration spells, which includes almost all their other spells. I'm also planning to give different options to my players instead of all the other Hunter's Mark focused features in the base Ranger once the new Player's Handbook comes out. I'll wait to see the full finished product before designing those though. Also, the level 11 feature is specifically designed using the new weapon mastery properties, which I have been letting my players use for a while now. At level 3 you get Mariner Magic, which gives a bunch of spells that felt appropriate to the theme and can be really nice. It also gives you a Parrot Familiar, which uses the Raven stat block, but it's brightly colored because it's more piratey that way. At level 3 you also get Sea Spray, which lets you see through all fog and cloud effects, which usually requires Blindside or something similar. Then you also gain the Fog Cloud spell and can choose to cast it as a bonus action. Yes, this makes it compete with Hunter's Mark, but it makes it so it's not competing with your weapon attacks, so you can drop a cloud on yourself or your enemies and then immediately start attacking with advantage. It may be a bit OP. I'll admit that I haven't had time to playtest this yet, but it's a first level spell that takes your concentration, and there are a number of ways to make it go away. Plus, I feel like the Ranger is in a bad place right now, so giving them some love feels good. At level 7, you get a swimming speed and a reaction ability to be able to move away after a creature makes a melee attack against you. It's meant to feel similar to features that the Swashbuckler and Scout Rogue get, but different from either one. At level 11, you get a feature which makes it so when you make a weapon attack, you can either do the default weapon mastery property or choose to do topple instead, which knocks the enemy prone. This feature also makes it so you can make ranged attacks against prone targets without disadvantage. It's similar to the new 9th level fighter feature. And finally, at level 15, you get an upgrade to the defensive feature at level 7, making it so you can choose to cast Fog Cloud centered on yourself as part of the same reaction, and it gives you the option of either the movement it normally gives, or you can make a single melee attack against the creature that attacked you. I think the Mariner Ranger sounds like tons of fun, like it would feel very much like a Ranger, but would also play very differently from other subclasses. Jumping over to the Siren's Bard. This one was actually mostly designed by my oldest daughter, but I did help her out. I have her permission to share it, but she didn't want to be part of the video. The Sirens Bard gets features inspired by the Sirens, and it's supposed to be that this Bard College was started after Bards studied Sirens and how they do what they do. At level 3, you get a feature that makes it so you always get Charm Person, which is a staple for Bards anyway, but it felt appropriate. It also gives you an ability to perform a song for 1 minute that charms and lures a single target toward you, causing them to ignore dangers on the way. They get to make a wisdom save to avoid the effect and can repeat the save whenever they take damage. On a success, they're immune to the effect for 24 hours. This song takes your concentration and you have to spend your action to maintain it on the target, but if you choose to, you can switch to a new target. The new target gets to make the save, but if they fail, they're now charmed and being lured instead. So if the previous target dies or succeeds on a save, you can keep the song going on other targets. You get some free uses each day, or you can spend a bardic inspiration to use it. Also note that it uses your action each round, but not your bonus action, so you could still be handing out bardic inspiration while doing the luring song. Also at level 3 you get advantage on charisma checks against creatures that have an intelligence of at least 6. Might be a bit OP for social encounters, but I don't actually think so. At level 6, you get another song that attacks targets' minds to drive them crazy. This one is instantaneous and uses one of your bardic inspiration dice, but it affects all creatures of your choice within 60 feet. They make a charisma save, taking psychic damage equal to 2 rolls of your bardic inspiration dice and getting an extra effect on a failure. The extra effect is determined by rolling a d4. 1, they are blind with rage and attack someone. 2, they think something is funny and fall prone. 3, they are terrified of you. And 4, they think it's all a dream and close their eyes, becoming blinded for 1 round. On a success, they just take half damage. Then at level 14, you get one more song, which evokes the cannibalistic nature of Sirens. It works similar to the last one, but this time instead of doing the extra effect, you gain temporary hit points equal to half the psychic damage dealt. This sounds like it's OP to me, but it's all the way at level 14, so it's hard to say. I've never actually had a campaign get that high level. And finally, we come to the Tidal Monk. They're supposed to have based their way on the movements of the waters. At level 3, you can breathe water, get a swimming speed, and the Shape Water cantrip. You also get the ability to conjure tentacles of water as a bonus action. Mechanically, this is almost identical to the Astral Self Monk feature Astral Arms, gaining reach for your unarmed strikes, but it does cold damage instead of force. At level 6, you are now resistant to cold damage, and you can walk and stand on liquids as if permanently under the effects of the Water Walk spell. You can also extend this to others for 1 hour using key points. Also at level 6, you can use your bonus action and some ki to turn yourself and your equipment to water. You grow large, get temporary hit points, and get all the fun of being a water elemental. You can also freely swap between medium and large sizes once on each of your turns, and are able to go through all kinds of stuff. I gave it a lot of freedom in this. It should be a blast. At level 11, you get a lot of water-related powers. You can create it, destroy it, or just make it do what you want. And finally, at level 17, you get the ability to summon as well as dominate water elementals. It also gives you advantage on persuasion and intimidation against them. That's all I've got for you. I hope that you guys have a good time with these, and happy Kraken week.